Facebook wants you to talk about sports. Garageband will make you a rich and famous DJ. General Motors doubles down on the car-sharing economy, and more. It's Thursday, January 21st, and this is Crunch Report. Hello, everyone, from beautiful Davos. It's me again. Still cold, but it's really pretty here. Uber has pretty much nailed the car service industry. It is the front runner, but it's also been experimenting with other avenues like food delivery, and now it's launching a standalone app for UberEATS. That's the company's prepared food delivery service in Los Angeles, Atlanta, Chicago, New York, Austin, San Francisco, Washington, D.C., Houston, Seattle, and Dallas. Congratulations to all the cities that made the cut. UberEATS will come to both iOS and Android by the end of March, and the company says it'll work to expand its delivery hours in those cities as well. Now, clearly, the Toronto test is working. That's where Uber's been testing this for just over a month now. Now, before, UberEATS was a feature within Uber's regular app, and meals were only available during lunchtime. But pretty soon, customers in those 10 cities I mentioned will be able to order food from Uber's partner restaurants for breakfast, for lunch, and for dinner. I'm pretty hungry. Facebook's getting into the sports game, more so anyway, with a new destination called Facebook Sports Stadium. That includes play-by-play coverage of various games of sports ball, comments from your Facebook friends about sports, analysts and expert opinions, various stats, things like that, which is really smart because everyone's on Facebook anyway. The social network has 1.5 billion monthly users. Why not let them argue about football instead of doing it somewhere else? Sports Stadium is also Facebook's way of getting around the regular timeline, not being exactly real time, since sports conversations depend so much on live viewing. The feature is initially live in the US, covering football, American football, and only on the iOS app to start. But Facebook says it will support other sports around the world, like basketball, soccer, and more soon, and expand the feature in other platforms in the coming weeks. General Motors just launched a new program called Maven, which is designed to further the company's foray into card-sharing services and made up of a 40-person team from the car technology industry, plus Google and Zipcar and Sidecar to develop even more sharing services. This follows news from just a couple days ago that GM was acquiring select assets and employees from Sidecar, that's an Uber competitor. Maven will include several things: a car-sharing trial in Ann Arbor, Michigan, a service for neighborhood fleets of cars in New York that's now expanding to Chicago, a peer-to-peer service in Germany where people share their cars, and a GM campus program in the US, in Europe, and China to test more new ideas. Now, in Ann Arbor, GM will use connected car systems so you can save things like your music preferences, even if you're in various vehicles that you're sharing, with support for GM's own OnStar navigation, calling and security service, Apple's CarPlay, Android Auto, and more. Essentially, GM knows that people are moving away from sole car ownership and is not only doing its best to change with the times, but also to stay ahead. Apple's music app Garageband just got a big update on iOS called Audio Units, with more emphasis on making electronic tracks. Garageband has historically been geared more towards instrument-focused music. A new feature called Live Loops is a grid-based interface that lets you highlight different cells to create all kinds of samples, and the ability to make some pretty good-sounding stuff. There's some fun bells and whistles, too, like a button that lets you control the effects by physically moving your device, anything from your iPhone to an iPad Pro, as long as it's running iOS 9. The Garageband update is available now in the App Store and free. And appropriately, since we're coming to you from Switzerland, Google just launched some new street view imagery of the Mont Blanc, which is on the other side of the Swiss Alps, but still, it's very cool. Google partnered with a number of photographers and skiers and mountaineers and climbers and runners to build a bunch of 360-degree imagery, including what the Mont Blanc looks like from the perspective of an ice climber, and get an up-and-close view of the Mer de Glace glacier, which Google helpfully points out is melting because temperatures are rising, adding, quote, "This street view imagery serves as a digital record of Mont Blanc as it appears today, so future outdoor enthusiasts and scientists can look back at this time capsule to see how the mountain has changed." And that's the report for today. I'm Sarah Lane. It's very freezing. This episode was presented by Go90. Thanks for watching. Crunch Report airs every weekday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on TechCrunch.com. They're kicking us off these chairs, so I gotta go. You can also find us on iTunes and on YouTube. See you tomorrow.